and I end up walking around the house. That's what I've done. I've just made up. That's what happened with me, with my homie.
Is your family aware of this?
Oh, yeah, they're very aware.
Your wife, like,
yeah.
Wait a second. Are you singing a song about Ben Roethlisberger?
Oh, that's right. That's into the great mind of the musical composer, A1 Wolfgang Simms, who's awesome at coming up with great songs. Whoa, baby, he's back. Paulie B's back. You look good, man. Looking good. Nice shirt. Guns are popping. You don't look too tired. I mean,
that's
yeah.
That's somehow masked.
I mean, yeah, well, yes, masked. Paul, but
No
just to
pun
let everybody,
intended.
no pun intended. Paulie's been involved with the Olympics, the Premier Lacrosse League.
There you go.
I mean, before the Olympics, it was Tour de France.
Yes.
So you've been like really busy and like off hours. So glad to have you back, man.
It's awesome to be here. Great to be sitting right here. We got the NFL ball. We got you on the other side of it. And about 20 minutes ago, I was telling you, it was nice to pull into the building in daylight hours,
right?
With football coming up as the conversation topic.
I bet.
So
yeah,
it has been a little bit, but excited. It's the real first day of the season here for me.
Yeah, good. All right, you're back in it. All right, we're not going to cut you much slack, so get your shit straight early here, okay? All right, but
no preseason.
Yeah, no preseason time for you. You're a vet. You need to hit the ground running. You don't need preseason reps.
There you go.
You're Paul Burmeister.
I would sit out those games, right?
You would sit out those games, right?
Yeah.
You're way too big time. You're like Rodgers. All right, but we do have a good pod today. Lots of storylines. I mean, come on. Week 2 in the NFL, we got 5 rookie QBs who are freaking awesome. We're gonna have a little game with that, and just talk about their performances, hit a few other things that went on during, the week or this past weekend in the NFL. A lot of, I think, interesting angles, matchups, things we saw, things that popped out to me. But, of course, the storyline is the 5 rookie quarterbacks who, again, I'd like to state 5 rookie first-round quarterbacks. Man, they all look like they belong.
Right.
I mean, there's really not a whole lot negative to say about any of them. Trevor Lawrence we'll see tonight on Monday Night Football. I can't wait to see that because that's that's a threesome of quarterback fun.
It's true.
Because it's Taysom and Jameis, and we get to see, well, actually, it's a foursome because Minshew's still involved, too. Hey, we're getting risque over here. But I am enjoying all of this and enjoying, of course, evaluating young players. We're seeing some teams play their veterans a decent amount, which I come back to the old saying of like, all these new rules, OTAs and, even in training camp, and we can't tackle, and there's only a certain amount of days you go. Like, I think some of these old school coaches are like, hey, the only way we're going to get better at playing football is play football. Right. And that's where you see, Belichick so far, a lot of the starters. Mahomes and Andy Reid in 2 games have played. They played into the second quarter last week. Defense played a lot, did all of that. I look at, I'm just going to throw out some other teams. The Dolphins, borderline playoff team, they're playing all their starters. Man, do they look the part. The Steelers, they were a playoff team last year. Yeah, they got Big Ben. They don't like the way the year ended. Yeah. So they're looking to hit the ground running week 1. And they're not going to be like, oh, we'll see how we get used to the game in week 1. So they're playing a ton of football, right? The Broncos, they certainly were a team that jumped out. The 49ers last night played a lot. So we're still seeing like a lot of good starter quality football too, to where you can get a feel for at least a good amount of these teams.
And we're seeing an influx too, and everybody reads about it. Unfortunately, we don't get to see a lot of it in terms of video, but before all these preseason games, a lot of these teams are getting together for a couple days of like real, hard,
intense,
unpredictable, bring what you want, we'll run what we want kind of practice that are really kind of even more meaningful than the preseason games for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
So to your point of a lot of these coaches feel like, hey, to get better at football, you got to play some football.
Got to.
A lot of that is happening in the lead up to the preseason games we actually see on TV behind the scenes with these practices.
Yeah, no doubt. That's what stunk about like the Titans-Bucks preseason game.
Right.
Because none of the starters played because they had an intense few days of practice. So you don't get to see a lot other than a few young guys. Giants-Browns, same type of thing there. Where, you don't get to see much as far as the game's concerned because they got good quality work. So they're not worried about it. They're not going to risk, okay, we have a Super Bowl team in the Cleveland Browns, and we'd like to take people to the ground and tackle and do all that, but we'll wait till week 1. I get it. Every team is a little different. There's no doubt about it, but interesting weekend of football nonetheless.
And before we talk specifics with those 5 quarterback situations that you mentioned, I just want to say, and again, I was thinking about this on the drive in today as I kind of turned the page to the NFL season. We spend so much time right here, February, March, April, May, previewing the quarterback class, wondering how they might look.
Right.
You picked the guys you liked the most. You had some guys you wondered about. But at the end of the day, we're both just fans.
Definitely.
And we enjoy seeing people play well. And you can't pick a guy who's off to a bad start. Some might be off to better starts than others.
Exactly.
But there's been more positive than negative with all these rookie quarterbacks. And I think it's just a fun way to start August with all the people we talked about in the spring having a promising beginning to their NFL careers.
It is. I'm in amazement because it just you don't ever, like the old days, if you had 5 first-round quarterbacks, you would see 2 or 3 of them and be like, whoa, they're overmatched.
Just look
lost. They're
yes.
lost. They don't know what they're doing. They need a year on the bench or anything like that. Like the new age here, the last 2 or 3 years, I mean, rookies don't ever really look like that anymore. Mm-hmm. And I've had these conversations with Pete Dimalitolitis and everything like that. You know, one, maybe they're used to being showcased more than ever now, right? I mean, really, the era we're living in right now, you're like, as a freshman, you're ranked. Like, this is the top 10 freshman quarterbacks in the country.
Right.
So they're used to that. There are all these 7-on-7 camps where they show themselves. I'm going here, I'm going there. I'm at the Nike thing, blah, blah, blah. So they're like used to being under the microscope. I watch my own damn kids do TikTok videos and dancing and stuff, and I'd go, man, when I was their age, I would have been way too embarrassed to do that and put that out there for everybody to see. Yep. I got to think that's some part of this, too, to where the social media has made them numb to, like, what, a camera's on me? Oh, that's time to perform. Let's go. They are kind of like that. And I admire it. I really do. And certainly none of them look like the game is too big.
Right.
That's for sure, like you're talking about. So, yeah, let's break it down. I think all of them had some interesting things about the game, their games this weekend, and things we can certainly dissect a little bit.
And as we often like to do, and I don't know if this is a Chris idea, a Pete D idea, a Matt idea, but we're kind of going under the heading as we dive into each one of these situations with the I've seen enough.
Yeah.
Backing up to like politics and election night, we'll always have somebody say, you know what, I've seen enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it before they actually call it.
Yeah, I hear you. Right.
So we're going to give you a chance to call some things here. So let's begin with the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Andy Dalton is the starter.
Right.
And Pete, you want to start out with Matt Nagy? Okay, here's Matt Nagy after the preseason game over the weekend against the Buffalo Bills, asked about if anything had changed between the Andy Dalton and Justin Fields competition, where it was really Andy Dalton's all along. Here's Matt after the game.
The stock of Andy for us is going to be something for us is seeing what he does during the season. You know, that's how we got to be able to see what can Andy do during the season with this team and with these guys. That has been our plan this whole entire time. At the same point in time, we also need to evaluate and see where Justin's at and what he can do. And again, he's doing everything that we're asking him to do. He's doing great. So I think it's a good situation for us, and I truly understand the I don't know what the word would be, but the want for people to want to see more Justin and all that. I get that. But we also understand where we're at and what the true plan is. And all we can do is ask Justin to keep playing, and he's doing it, and Andy to keep playing, and Nick to keep playing.
He's seen enough to name Andy Dalton the starter. Have you?
No, I have not seen enough. Absolutely not. You know, I understand, like, the thought, and I understand that, you know, when he signed Andy Dalton, he made a promise, you'll be the starter, you know, and all of that. I get it. But from what we've seen through 2 weeks, and I know Justin Fields hasn't been out there as a starter quite yet, right? But I've seen enough of him to know that he can handle starting week 1 or week 2 or whatever it is. Yeah, you're going to have to manage him a little bit, certainly. Okay, big deal. I mean, my big thing is this. Like, let's not just name Andy Dalton the starter just because you promised it to him. This is the NFL. There's no promises. I made fun of it today earlier on the PFT. Did he give him a promise ring to go along with it? Like, did he get down on a knee? Like, I promise you. Like, no, there's no such thing. You know, there really isn't. And I think the biggest thing I come back to is, and you've heard me say this before, listen, I'm not a big fan of Matt Nagy and the Bears offense.
Right,
I'm not.
Right.
I mean, it's not good. There's no. We've seen Mitch Trubisky in it. Wasn't good. Nick Foles was supposed to come in and save the day. Wasn't good. I mean, so I don't know where. And then we see Mitch Trubisky go to another offense and tear the shit up of the Bears starting defense.
Yeah.
Like, you can't stop him. Like, he's like the best quarterback in football. So I have issues. And to me, it's going to be that type of offense that we've been underwhelmed with Andy Dalton when he's the quarterback. And even in of course, the first 2 games in this game here, the stats are okay. But they're a little misleading. It was a one-on-one jump ball for 80 yards.
11 out of 17, 146.
Right.
That stat line looks better than he looked a lot of the time.
That actually is. Yeah. Exactly right. Now, I know he had the interception. Hey, the receiver fell down. I get all of that. But I guess at the base level, from what we've seen with Justin Fields, first off, he has very nice natural feel of, like, stay in the pocket or it's time to get out. He doesn't look like he's trying to run or do anything like that, right? But my biggest thing with him is for an offense that has, underwhelming schemes and not big-time talent, Justin Fields is the number one schematical advantage on that offense. He is the number one thing they have that will be able to affect game plans and affect, the way defenses play them, and also add creativity to the offense that's just not there. And then people might go, well, it's not, they go, well, Chris, you just said the O-line's not good. I'd rather have a not good O-line with Justin Fields than Andy Dalton. What's Andy Dalton going to do behind it?
Not much.
And with Justin Fields, you can protect the offensive line a little bit because of the quarterback design runs. Oh, he might keep it on a boot. Oh, they might keep the quarterback out this way. It's going to slow down the pass rush. It's going to give the offensive line a little bit of an advantage, as far as, okay, maybe we're not as good as everybody thinks, but because this guy's behind us, the defense has to slow down and hesitate a little bit, and they're not sure what we're going to do. And I think there is value in that. So, yes, I have not seen enough from Andy Dalton to sit here and say the starter. I mean, I'm on the other side of almost going, I've seen enough to go, let's go and start the Justin Fields era. It's time. It's not perfect. I still have some questions.
Sure.
But
he must have come a long way because when we were talking in the spring, you had some doubts about him as a first-round quarterback.
Sure.
And as you've watched him now, it feels like, just listening to you, he's starting to kind of turn the tide a little bit with how you feel about him. What's the best thing he's shown you to take you from April to where you are now saying, you know what?
Yeah.
I think he should be the starting quarterback.
Right. Well, listen, I know I said this back then. I liked all 6 of these guys that I like. I really, I said many times it was the hardest year for me to rank because I didn't think any of them were like necessarily bad or undeserving of being towards the top. I get that. My big question with Fields, and it's still not answered to this point, and we saw a little bit in the game the other day, is just throwing from the pocket. That is going to be the big question, and we're not going to really know the feel of that until he plays first-team defenses and people can corral him and keep him in the pocket and all of that. And even so, I don't expect it to be at A-plus level quite yet or anything like that. But what I've seen enough of is enough good throws from within the pocket and control of the ball and the appropriate throws. Oh, the guy's 5 feet in front of me. I'm not going to knock his head off. Here's just a nice little flick of the wrist. Oh, here's an out route. Okay, I can push it a little harder. Would I like some of those things still to happen quicker and maybe explode out of his hands when he throws one of those power balls a little bit better? Sure, but it's still good enough to get it done. But the biggest thing is just the man, the athlete. That's the biggest thing where I think I just go, wait, he belongs. The athleticism's real. He is the fastest quarterback of this draft. He has another gear that I think even Trey Lance doesn't have.
Right.
And because the offense is not great and it's less than creativity-wise, that's where I just go quarterback design runs, boots, play actions. The threat of him running is going to open up other lanes for other running backs in the backfield. And I think he gives them a great advantage that way as to where Andy Dalton, I want to go, I've seen this offense.
Exactly, yeah. I hear you loud and clear saying,
I mean?
How much different is Andy Dalton? And I like him as a backup. I feel great if he was my backup quarterback.
Gotcha, right.
But you've seen this before with Trubisky, with Foles. I mean, how much different is it going to look? And Fields gives him a much different look. How much should it matter as I think about, okay, Justin Fields potentially the starting quarterback? The one play that got all the highlights against Buffalo where he got blown up. He didn't know the rush was coming to the right side. He wasn't looking at it.
Sure.
Negative plays like that. There could be 3 or 4 of those a game. Where with Dalton there might be 1 or 2. How much does that matter to you?
Well, I mean, listen, I don't like that. That's not something I look at and go, oh, man, he's going to have a tough time figuring that out. He'll learn to look at defenses and the clues and go, wait, my offensive line's sliding this way. this is not good for them to be sliding this way against this defense. I need to have them slide the other way. And then also within them, they need to protect them too. They don't need to play the game overly complicated with Justin Fields. Like we said, run the ball, he runs the ball, he runs some bootlegs, you run some play actions, and you hope to avoid 3rd and 8s and things like that. Yeah, that's not going to be his wheelhouse, at least in my opinion, right off the bat, But I don't look at that as like you're gonna have some issues as a rookie quarterback, and that's not always going to be perfect, like you're saying. But not enough to me to where it's going to change me. And here's the other thing I get from like a few friends, because I've said this to some like my football friends over the last few days. Well, man, they got the Rams the first week. Do you really want to throw him out there against the Rams? I want to go, yeah, I do. They got the Bengals in week 2.
Yeah.
And honestly, the Andy Dalton Bears offense versus the Rams defense, negative Ghost Rider. They're not going to win that game. I'm just calling it now, if that's the way it goes.
Right.
With Justin Fields, okay, now you can go, wait, Rams, your defense is awesome. We know you're good at defending the drop back pass and what you did last year and all those type of things. But we have all these runs you haven't prepared for from our quarterback, all these Lamar Jackson, Taysom Hill runs that you haven't seen all preseason, you haven't seen us do. You don't know how we're going to attack us. And this quarterback we got right now, he's been on the big stage before. Yeah. He ain't scared. And the one thing we're seeing here too is I think maybe the most impressive thing, he's taking care of the football. Even when he gets out of the pocket and nobody's open, he's not trying to force some highlight play or do something stupid like that too. I've been really impressed. Again, I'm not sitting here. I'd love to see more from the drop back passing element and all of those type of things, but everything I've seen is on the up and up to where I just want to go, okay, come on, Chicago. Let's start it. And let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any politics involved in this decision?
As in, like, the promise ring that you talked about before?
A little bit. The promise ring way, and I understand that's tough because coaches don't want to look like they lie to players.
Sure.
But at the same time, I throw this question out there. You also don't want to look like you're just playing a guy because you promised him and the other guy's outperforming him all the time. Everyone's going, wait, we've had 2 games. That guy looks better.
Yeah.
Practice, I know, okay, Andy Dalton might be a little bit better because he's a veteran and he knows how to practice and all those things. But are we really trying to win if we're putting him out there?
Yeah.
I mean, there's that side of the story, too, you could say, opposite of the I promised the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that, and then here's the politics part where I'd like with the politics part, I just go with Andy Dalton. Okay, you start Andy Dalton, he loses, they start out 1-4.
Yeah.
Now Justin Fields comes in, saves the day. Does Matt Nagy now save himself from being on the hot seat because he's like, well, see, when Justin Fields, I got my quarterback in there and he saved the year, and now I'm good for next year, right, guys? Because look at what we did. We kind of built him.
Yeah.
I guess sometimes I wonder if he's looking for that wiggle room that way.
A bunch of responses there. Number one, I do think there are politics involved. If part of the politics is Matt Nagy thinking, if we go 7-10 and I started Andy Dalton half the season, that looks like a poor decision. I botched this thing. He's going to lose his job. If they go 8-9 with Fields playing most of the season and him getting a little better each and every month, he might keep his job with a right around 500 team and Justin Fields moving in the right direction. He got him in there early. So politics for that? Yeah, he should be thinking about that. A couple other parts of he should be thinking about. This looks to be the one situation where if you don't start the rookie first rounder, there could be a mutiny at Soldier Field.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about with the players.
I know.
And a coach is not thinking about the fans. However, you also have to know the temperature of the town. Andy Dalton goes 0 for 2 on the first series. It's going to be crazy, the atmosphere for Justin Fields. How long can you keep that off or keep that at bay just to stick with Andy Dalton? Then you also have to wonder about the locker room because I'm sure guys are noticing just what you're noticing, like, hey, this kid's pretty good.
Right.
Let's
go with
it.
Yeah, we know he might make a mistake or two. If we start
Andy Dalton and we get spanked by the Rams, why not roll him out there for the Bengals and the Browns and get this thing started? So if those all count as politics, yes, they do matter, and I think Matt Nagy ought to be thinking about that.
I know. I mean, I would think he is. And maybe that's what he's thinking. Maybe he's just thinking, like, the Rams, I'll start Andy Dalton, and then, if it's just so-so, are not great. Then the next week I start Justin Fields at home against the Bengals, which is going to piss Andy Dalton off because he's going to want revenge against his old Bengals team.
Yeah.
But hey, it is what it is. And like we're both saying here, we know what Andy Dalton is. Justin Fields, though, is the future of that organization. He showed promise, and I'm just over like sit the rookie, do that. Like that day's over to me. Like I said, every now and then there's a circumstance. Sure, Jordan Love, he was extremely raw and didn't get a preseason. And okay, that was one I'm all for. But this is one here where, we've seen the guy play at a high level for 2 years. He's got a special skill set. We know what the other guy is. And I think bottom line is, like I said to start it off, he is the number one schematical advantage they have on the offensive side of the ball.
Point.
And that's kind of where I kind of look at it. So I'll be interested to see where this goes.
Yeah, average season with Andy Dalton most of the time is going to cost him his job. Average season with Fields,
I know,
could stick around.
Well, I was like, the other thing I was trying to portray too, like, you start with Dalton, and if you don't get off good, and then Fields comes in and you look better and save his day, does that buy time for him to go, we, as an organization, we said we were going to sit Fields early. I mean, I could see a lot of different politics being here.
I think it depends on how early he made the change.
Maybe how early he makes a change.
If they go 0 for 3 in September, that might have been waiting too long.
Right.
So we shall see.
Yeah.
San Francisco, you watched last night, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Trey Lance was pretty good. Before we get into that, Kyle Shanahan, of course, asked after the game, because Trey Lance had a very good finish to the first half and some strong moments in the second half. If anything had changed between Jimmy G and Trey Lance.
No, I haven't seen that. I would love for it to be more and more each week, but, I think the situation is pretty similar right now.
And did you make an announcement? Is Jimmy Garoppolo your starter week 1?
No, I'm not making that announcement. Let's try, though. Whenever I feel like it. Not tonight.
Whenever I feel like it.
He's visibly annoyed.
With what?
I don't know with what. I don't know. To me, it would be the fact that he wanted Trey Lance to take advantage of last night. Jimmy threw an interception, and he wanted him to go out there and play well right off the bat so he could go, it's Trey Lance time. And he's pissed off about it. Can we replay that clip? Just to replay I want everybody to listen to the first part of it. When he's like, "Well, I would have liked him to close that gap." Like he's saying, like, "Yeah, I want the guy to close the gap. I'd like to be able to tell you something's changed here, but it hasn't." Like, go ahead, play it one more time.
No, I haven't seen that. I would love for it to be more and more each week, but I think the situation is pretty similar right now.
And did you make an announcement? Is Jimmy Garoppolo your starter week 1?
No, I'm not making that announcement. Let's try, though. Whenever I feel like it. Not tonight.
I think most people are excited about Trey Lance. I know you are too, based off of what he did end of the first half, second half. But you can't unsee the first 3 series he played also.
That's right. I know.
And maybe that's hanging on his mind.
I think that's what it is. All right, so this is why, listen, anybody that I'm self-scouting myself.
Yep.
I was on PFT this morning, and I said, it was raw and all of those things. But as long as Shanahan feels like he can trust Trey Lance to take care of the ball, I don't know. I think I might just start Trey Lance to week 1 too and just get it over with. Like, don't play games. First off, Shanahan's special. We've seen him do this with RG3 before with a way lesser team around him than what Trey Lance and the 49ers are. The 49ers are a Super Bowl caliber football team. And I do think Shanahan can manage him. But having said that, I went back and watched the film this morning of that game. Of course, it became available this morning, so I turned it on. And after that performance, I don't think he's going to be in Shanahan's trust tree quite yet. I mean, you kind of explained it. First off, he's got, and I know we got some pictures and we'll show, but I don't want to get there quite yet. Just, he has the first third down, right? Throws the high rocket behind Deebo Samuel. Like, listen, nobody on earth is going to catch that ball. Right. That is not the appropriate throw of that football. Not every throw can be the Aroldis Chapman 105-mile-per-hour fastball. Mm-hmm. The guy is 7 yards in front of him. You can't throw it as hard as you can. I understand a ball with pace, right? Like Rodgers or Josh Allen, whatever, they would have gone, wait, I know I could throw it 105, but a disaster might happen. Let me throw it 94, right? Like that. So it's still a good pace. My guy can get it in a hurry. It's still, but there's got to be some feel there. He
Right.
doesn't have that, let alone when he steps on the gas, he loses some accuracy at times, as you see. Now, the next drive, very similar route to the first third down he misses to Deebo Samuel. This time, same thing, high and hard. This time it's in front, and it gets popped in the air and intercepted. Same type of thing. I want to say the same thing I just said with the first one.
Right.
Way too hard for that throw right there, and off target. So let's look at the photos first off, just to check it out. And is this the incompletion? Yeah. So here's the incompletion. Look, I mean, it's wide open. Now here's the thing. You see Trey Lance, the position he's in. First off, his windup is long.
Yep.
I can already see in 2 weeks that defensive linemen have tell on him. They get their hands up, and he had a few balls in this game that were close to batted because it's a what do I want to say, a deliberate delivery. Yeah, it's quick, but it's long and it's looping with that right arm. So next frame here, wide open, right. Now, again, Deebo Samuel, I'd go in the wide receiver room today in San Francisco. They're going to go, we'd like you to catch that ball. But also in the quarterback room, Shanahan's going, dude, we got to throw a better football there. And you got to throw it, not only more accurately, but you can't throw it that hard. It's
Right.
not realistic to think that guy's going to catch that like that.
I think it should be pointed out, too, that even though both of the interceptions from those two quarterbacks came on the in-breaking routes
Right.
over the middle, Garoppolo's was a much more catchable ball.
Yeah,
This
sure.
is what happens in the preseason. You kind of get into the weeds on a couple of throws that ultimately don't matter. But Garoppolo, I think, threw a good ball a little bit high.
Yeah, it was high.
This
right?
is a tough ball to catch because of the pace, like you talked about, and how far behind him it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
right.
a big miss.
It's a little shorter than the Garoppolo interception,
shorter,
too.
yeah.
So the guy's running at a faster speed. It's coming at him out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And the thing I've tried to portray, too, with Lance, and I think you're going to continue to see this, and you've seen it in both games so far, drops, right? You've seen drops. Yeah, one, the ball's too hard. Something else I said on PFT today, too. His ball's not an easy ball to catch. It does not spin. It's not perfect spirals, and it's a hard wobbler. He throws kind of a knuckleball. So that's going to lead to the ball bouncing off people's hands or not catching it.
Yeah.
A spiral is easy to focus on. Whoa, that ball's spinning. I can look at the point. Now I can focus on it and catch it. Boom, it's right there, right? I mean, here's the football. Perfect spiral is just boom, it's right there. If the ball's kind of coming in like this, oh, man, the point hit my palm. I dropped it. Oh, the ball hit me a little sideways. It's harder to catch, especially if it's going that fast.
I think it's a great point. There's another part of the heavy ball without the right kind of RPMs. The receiver's going to see where it is and put his hands up. There's slight alteration when a ball isn't spinning the right way. It might be 4 inches more to the left than you thought it was when you put your hands up.
Because it moves a little weird
exactly.
if it's not spinning the right way.
It doesn't go from point A to point B the way you think it is.
Right.
It's unpredictable, even if it's not windy out.
Exactly right.
It makes a big difference.
So I think there is something to look for. And now you want to show the other picture? Let's go to the other ones. I mean, here we go. Now we got the interception. You can see it's the same type of route. Here he comes in from the right. I can't remember who this was that dropped this one or the throw was intended to. But, again, cycle through it, Pete. Here he is in the pocket. I like it, but, I mean, you see.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, yeah. You like your receiver to make an unbelievable catch over the middle. He is completely stretched out and jumping off the ground. And it's Mohamed Sanu, who has, like, the strongest hands in America, I can tell you, okay? I mean, Mohamed's from New Jersey. I've spent time around him. I mean, balls don't overpower him. So there's that ball. High, hard, not easy to catch, boom, interception. So, okay, now Richie James later in the game. There's this one too, just his third quarter, the first drive. Again, people are going to put this on Richie James, and I'm going to go, no way. From where his head's not turned around yet, I know he hasn't thrown the ball again, but this is a 5-yard out route. He throws it way too hard. And even that, the ball goes right through Richie James. So there it is, right? And, this picture's not going to do justice to what it looked like on TV or film. His head's around, and you're going to he should have catch it. But it is truly flying through the air at such a hard pace and everything like that. And forget that. The ball goes through him. You should see the coaches and everybody behind him after the ball goes through them. They're all lit out of the way like it's a bomb. Like, oh, damn, get out. Whoa. Like, I mean, that's literally what they're doing. So he's got to learn to throw the ball with some variety and some touch and just some appropriateness as far as wait, not every one has to be the hardest throw I've had. But getting back to the point here of like, there's a lot to like about Lance. You see he's athletic and he's quick and the arm is powerful. And he does have the ability to throw a touch pass. We saw them do it right in this the 2-minute drive at the end of the second quarter. Little fade down the right sideline. Prettiest ball I've seen him throw yet. And the ball spinned and everything. Nice, catchable, appropriate football. We need to see more of that. But where I get back into where I was going, you know what? Shanahan should just start him. Right? He did it with RG3 and all those type of things. And where I'm going, okay, wait, Chris, self-scout thyself. We need to pump the brakes. He went through a stretch there where I want to explain this to everybody. He had the third down drop. Okay. Next drive, he got a completion or two, but then he throws the interception, all right, on the third down. The very next pass of the next series, he throws a tight end out route. He threw it right into the chest of the defender. He dropped the interception. So he has that. Now, his very next throw after that was nobody's open. He's got the back and some short check down throws, but he's still looking downfield, and an inch away from getting strip sacked. He gets sacked, and I want to go, if those were the starters in there, if that was Joey Bosa and company, that's a strip sack, and they've lost the ball. And now we've gone, missed an open receiver on third down, intercepted on third down, interception, could have been interception, and here a fumble. That's where you're going to get in the Shanahan, whoa, you're not in my trust tree. Like, no matter how much I like you and I want you to be the starter and everything like that, if we turn the ball over,
right,
I don't care how good we are as a team or how talented you are, it's going to be hard for us to win football games. So that's where that was a scary stretch, as you said already. Those first three series, I mean, that was bad. And that strip sack, let me just say this too. See, now he's missed a few throws. There's a guy wide open in the middle of the field, but he was a little scared to pull the trigger because he had missed his last two throws, and now missing throws affect his decision-making. Positive thing is he finally did settle in and really showed that,
he did.
Like we said, some variety, some good decisions and things like that, and the ability nonetheless to bounce back and kind of settle into the game and find his way. And that I give him credit for.
A couple of things to point out, too, as I listen to you. I want to back up to something you said a few moments ago. Super Bowl caliber team. Yeah. This is the one situation of all these rookies we're talking about.
I know.
The one guy who's walking into a situation where we can say that. They have postseason expectations. And even though Jimmy Garoppolo leaves a lot to be desired with how he's played the last 2 or 3 years, you could picture them going 13-4 with him playing pretty well.
It wouldn't be shocking, no.
Can you picture them doing that with Trey Lance? I don't know.
No, I can't, but I'll say this just to your question, because that's a great point. You're right. But I could still see them going 11-6 and being a more dangerous team in the playoffs than they would be with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is what you have to balance. And, I don't know. Ultimately, I don't know what Shanahan will do now. I don't know. Last night's going to be scary enough, I think, to where maybe Jimmy G does start. You just have a package of Trey Lance plays in the first few games. And then if Jimmy G doesn't play well and you feel like Trey Lance is coming the right way, then maybe they make that switch. I kind of went in this morning just going, hey, listen, I'm not a huge Jimmy G fan. I think he's a below-average NFL starting quarterback. Obviously, I've made him 20 in my rankings. I think the 49ers feel the same way. They did everything they could on earth to try to replace him this year. So that's where I came in today going, man, but just start the era. Shanahan can do it. He can make anybody look good. I mean, anybody. I just like to remind anybody, Nick Mullins was going into his 16th start as a quarterback, and he was on verge of throwing what was the stat? The second most yards in the history of football through 16 starts, right? So Shanahan can make chicken salad out of chicken shit any day. I mean, Nick Mullins probably not going to make the Philadelphia Eagles football team. And there he was. Everybody was ready to anoint him the king of the world in the Shanahan offense. So I never put anything out of the realm. I do think their most dangerous team and offense can ultimately be at its highest potential with Lance. But if you can't trust them to take care of the football, that's going to be the biggest issue.
And the big question about Lance is kind of playing out now in the preseason that we had in the spring, that he hasn't played in over 400 days. He played at North Dakota State. This might be really raw, and it's coming off as really raw.
It is.
One other question about him before we move on. Can't you get the best of both worlds? Can't you If you're a Niners fan, assume Jimmy G's going to play pretty well most of the time, and run Lance out there for 1 or 2 series a game. Like, have a special package for him to where you're not giving him the keys to the car and saying, hope to see you in February at the Super Bowl.
No, I know.
But you are taking advantage of his talent with a couple series a game where you have a special package for him.
I'm glad you got there, because this is one of the points I wanted to make here. Here's the other thing. One of the other reasons I came in this morning on PFT going, just start the Trey Lance era. Like, again, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's not a great athlete. He's not a great down-the-field thrower. And if he's going to be inaccurate with throws like we saw there and then cause turnovers and shit like that anyways, then go with the other guy. I mean, I don't know. But I'm glad you brought this up, because here's the other element we're missing here too. They haven't even run Trey Lance yet. Shanahan's saving all that stuff.
Right.
He's saving it all. And again, that's where I kind of came in the morning going, well, his runs, the Trey Lance runs packaged with his normal runs and the way he can do play actions and boot Shanahan, he could manage Trey Lance. I really think the last piece of the puzzle is he needs to be able to trust him on third down or obvious passing situations, and last night's not going to help him in that department. So to your point, yes, I think there will be a package of plays, especially early on. They traded 3 first-round picks for the guy.
Right.
They got to get him to playing. You just said he's raw and hasn't played in 2 years, and even before that, it was raw in the year he did play.
Right.
So he's got to get on the field to some extent. The problem is this. As you get late in the year and the games start to count and things like that, and Jimmy Garoppolo is still your starter, and now they bringing in Trey Lance every now and then. That one game where, whoa, Jimmy was awesome and they were up 14-0, and they decided to bring Lance in, and he fumbled and the other team scored and the game was never the same.
Trouble.
You're going to have to hear that shit, right? Why did you do that? Jimmy was hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah.
So that's the problem you get there either way. But listen, I don't know what to say about this one. I really don't. I really believe in my heart of hearts Shanahan wants to start Trey Lance. He wants him to be the guy. He wants to start the new era with him. But last night is not going to help him trust him, in an NFL regular season game with the way he took care of the football and how close he was to disaster, more than just the one interception.
Moving on to Jimmy G's old team, the Patriots. Interesting quarterback situation there. The competition between Cam Newton and Mac Jones, I think it's a double positive. Both guys playing well.
Yeah.
Feels like Cam Newton is going to be the starter this morning. Bill Belichick said the fact that Cam started last year and he's here, somebody would have to play better than him. Training camp is all about competition, and he has looked good. So all signs point to Cam being the guy to start the season at least. But then also the news comes out this morning.
Yeah, geez.
Cam's out the next 5 days.
Right.
COVID protocols, I guess we'll say, COVID precaution, misunderstanding with the NFL, and the fact that he's apparently not vaccinated. He's out for the next 5 days.
Damn.
He'll be quarantined. So is the door open for Mac Jones to be the guy again?
It opens it a little bit. I mean, I was sitting here before that. I was out going, it's over.
Right?
It's finally over.
Yeah.
Cam, my thought after watching the game last weekend was it would take a monumental meltdown this week or a horrible game against the Giants in preseason game number 3 for Cam not to be the starter. For the reasons Belichick just talked about. And I know Belichick and company, they're reluctant to throw rookies out to the wolves, especially a young quarterback, where they know, wait, as the season goes along, we can't just run these base training camp drop back pass games. We're going to have to start getting more and more complex, which is like, yeah, I know this is a rookie and he's probably more NFL ready than anything, but he ain't New England NFL ready yet, okay? There's something to that, right? It's the hardest offense to learn in football, and I don't doubt he can do it. But, yeah, Cam's got a little more experience and all that, and Cam played so well the other night.
He did.
He really did. And, I always come back to anybody that's been listening knows this too. I do think the team is actually built more to fit Cam right now than it is Mac Jones.
How so?
Just because of the 2 tight ends, the unbelievable run-blocking offensive line they have. I think their defense is going to be top-notch. So they can play kind of run the ball, control the clock, play our defense, Cam, few quarterback design runs, and hit a few throws here and there, that style of football. But, this is going to just crack the door open a little bit. Just one more time. And not really to the fact where I would be shocked if it changes a lot.
Yeah.
But I think the unfortunate thing is just to go, damn, it's positive. all last week it was, man, Cam had 2 good days at practice against the Philadelphia Eagles. Then he, cemented it with a great game on Thursday night. And you're thinking, okay, Cam's comfortable. That's everything you're hearing out there and all that. And then, oh, shit, now he can't practice for 5 days and do that crap? So that's unfortunate for him. And, yeah, it's going to certainly help Mac Jones and him give him a few more chances to impress everybody.
It does make it's going to tap the brakes on the progress that Cam was making.
Yes.
However, also got to point out that these aren't garden variety practices this week. The Giants are coming in for 2 of those practices we talked about earlier. So, yes, they're playing this weekend, and by the numbers we have today, it looks like Cam Newton should play in the game. But he's going to miss 3 or 4 hours of good work in 2 days against the Giants, and all of those reps now, not all of them, but a lot more go to Mac Jones.
No doubt.
So in a way, it's positive for Mac.
Right.
Certainly positive for him.
Right.
And Cam gets a little rest. I mean, it's hard to put a positive spin on the reason why he's missing time here.
Yeah, no, there's no positive spin. You're right.
Not for him,
he's obviously not vaccinated, so there's that. And then, from what we're reading, he left the New England area.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he tried to give himself his own test every day, but either way, when you're not vaccinated, you're not allowed to leave the area right now. That's part of being unvaccinated in the NFL. So we don't know the whole story, but either way, it's just another little, inkling to go. Being vaccinated helps your football team, helps you, in a lot of ways professionally. I know not everybody's in favor and all that, but for purposes of I want to be a starting quarterback and collect all my checks and have my team win, vaccination still is a pretty smart thing. But I'm not trying to judge anybody on that or anything like that. Yeah,
we're just talking about
football.
We're talking about
football. That's right.
Bill Belichick as well as anybody.
Yeah.
When Cam comes back, do you think it's still, all right, nice to have you back, you're the guy? Or how much do you think he'll get dinged here for missing these few days?
I think that he still will be the guy. No doubt. I do. I don't think that's going to change. New England's not fickle like that. They're not over-emotional. You've seen how steadfast they've stayed with Cam Newton this whole time, even though Mac's been phenomenal in practices and preseason here, right? They're realistic to know what was against him last year too, and evaluate it for what it is. So, and he's still the number 1 leader on their football team, and I think there is something to be said about that. It's different times right now, and the world's different, so this shit kind of happens. But yeah, I was really allowed to go like, man, Mac Jones has looked awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, he's looked awesome. He played awesome in the game the other night.
He did, I know.
I mean, every throw is bullseye. He makes decisions quick, gets the ball out of his hands. It's like you're watching a 3rd or 4th year veteran. You're just like, damn, I mean, this kid's a rookie. And, it's phenomenal that way. It really is. But, I think ultimately just knowing New England and the way they coach, think, everything like that, I still expect it to be Cam Newton.
With the situation that we talked about in Chicago and San Francisco, it feels like with the vets you're thinking, okay, if they do get the start, it's a short leash because we're going to one of these exciting, promising guys if you don't perform the way you should. Same in New England, even though it's firmly Cam now, if it's 1-1 and he's been a little shaky.
I think it is. I think it's a short leash for sure. I do. I don't think he's going to get a 6-game stretch where he's going to be like, well, it's been rough and I'm still just trying to find my way.
It was most of last year.
I know. I don't think there was a whole lot of options behind him.
Yep.
This year's a little different story to where, if we got to week 3, week 4, and it's been underwhelming and he's missed some open throws and turned the ball over, I think they will. They will cut the cord and go to Mac Jones. Mm-hmm. But I think as long as he plays solid and good and does he'll keep his job. I think I really do. And like I said, I think in a lot of ways, I know they're better at receiver and things like that, but with the 2 tight ends, that offensive line, their defense, I think another year in the system for Cam and everything like that, I expect it to be. He's the only one I sit here and literally just go, okay, Cam should be the guy, in my opinion, for right now.
It's the easiest call for you.
It's the easiest call for me.
Even though Mac may be performed the best of all of them.
Yeah, yes, it's second best.
Yeah.
But it's very good. Yeah. It's very good.
Okay, so still operating under this theme of I've seen enough to make the call.
Yeah, we forgot about that. But
just revisiting.
I've seen enough, I think, to say Cam is the guy there, though. I do. Yes.
Let's move on to the one team that I think is truly a 50-50.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to hearing which one of these 2 guys. I'm not excited about either one in Denver.
Yeah, right.
I think it's as questionable or weak of a starting quarterback situation as there is in the league of any of the 32 teams. Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock? Have you seen enough to name either one as the guy?
No. I mean, it's a tough call. Both have played really good in both preseason games.
Yeah.
It's hard to sit there, and say like, oh, one has a clear advantage from what we've seen in the two games to this point. Like I've always said, I get more excited with Lock. I do. I think his ceiling, his high-end talent
just
is
more
greater.
Talent.
Right. And I think his ability can take advantage of Jerry Jeudy and Hamlin and Cortland Sutton. Right. They got some studs that can stretch the field. That's his game, But at the same time, too, he's got to show that he can take care of the ball and not be a gunslinger and do those type of things. Bridgewater is the exact opposite story. As we always know, anybody ever listens to me knows that's what I always say about him. I know he can take care of the ball and not throw interceptions and do those type of things. He can do all that stuff. Can he make all the plays that are there to be had has always been my question.
Recent history would say no.
No, exactly. So that's where I get into it. But, Bridgewater's been a little more aggressive with his decision-making and throwing in both games.
Yeah.
I mean, especially the other night. He made some unbelievable throws.
Really good throws.
And I'll say this, too, in Lock's defense, obviously I think Lock won week 1. Teddy won week 2. Both guys got to be with the first team in the weeks they won, so I think that says a lot, too. But here's one thing I'll give Lock a lot of credit for, what I liked in the game, too. When Teddy, they went down, scored 2 touchdowns, I went, oh, man, I hope Lock doesn't try to be like, Johnny, I'm going to come here and save the day and show everybody I should be the starter and throw rifles and, balls into tight windows and all that. He showed some maturity to be like, okay, it's third and 12 or 3rd and 16 he had one time. He threw the check down, got 8 or 9 yards. Shit, we punt the ball. Okay. I'm not going to force it down and get an interception and get my head coach as a defensive head coach all pissed off at me and all those type of things too. So I thought he showed actually something, in himself too, to kind of play smart and mature that way.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
You just mentioned something. You said Vic Fangio. You referenced him as a defensive coach.
I know.
And I have written down here, I could get excited about Drew Lock's potential. I could also get really frustrated with how he plays with that a lot of the time. But with Bridgewater, I look at Fangio, lifelong defensive coordinator, staunch old school defensive guy.
Right.
What's the strength of the Broncos? No matter who the quarterback is, what's the strength?
Defense,
the defense.
Right.
Should I read that Teddy Bridgewater is a safer pick and is on track to being the guy because of that?
Your logic is right. I mean, your logic is right. All right, and we add to that what you're saying here for Teddy Bridgewater's case. Also, George Patton, I always mess up.
Back and forth.
The GM.
Yes.
Is from Minnesota. Patton.
Yep.
He was there with Teddy Bridgewater.
Yes, that's
so
right.
There's got to be.
Was he there when they took him?
He was. Okay. So there's got to be a little bit of a respect, love affair there with that too. I always think about that. Does that favor Teddy? Mm-hmm. But then I also just talking here, and again I don't know the answers to these things. I mean, for Drew Lock to play as way he did in week 1, and 2 days after Fangio said they're really close to naming the guy. Last week I was thinking he was leaning Drew Lock. That to me sounds like he's going to make Drew Lock the starter, But I don't know if Teddy played so well that he just went, shit, hold on, I got to pump the brakes and maybe I need another week of evaluation. I don't know. I don't think they can go terribly wrong with either one. I think your logic in a lot of ways makes sense.
Teddy's stock felt a lot different a year ago right now when he stepped in for Drew Brees and played so well in that system for that 1 month than after this year, like where we are now after he played a whole season in Carolina. He looked good with a small sample size.
Yes.
With most of an entire season, it was like,
I know. Yeah. I know.
Didn't look nearly the same.
No, it did not. And he was, even for him who takes care of the ball, he was a little careless with the football at times last year, too.
Ultra conservative.
Yeah.
At times, too.
Yes, no doubt about it. That's my problem. They had, DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, and I came away from a few games just going, there was some people open and yards there and points there, and he looked to be conservative, and it cost them games. So that's where the $1 million decision is.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing I'll just throw into it. Again, both guys look good. But, the thing I've also erred on a little bit here is you are in the NFC West. There's some good offenses. Can you win every game? Defense, we're going to win it 16-13. You're not going to beat the Chiefs twice like that.
Right.
You're going to have to score 30 in one of those games against the Chiefs. Maybe your defense can get the best of them one time.
How about the Chargers now,
too? The Chargers, too. That's what I mean. So that's where I get a little into, you might be leaving a little out in the field with Teddy Bridgewater. Now, they're seeing practice, and they know more than I do, certainly.
Yeah.
This really is a tough one.
It is.
You know where I err. I err on going with Drew Lock. I do. As long as he hasn't been a basket case in practice and being like Brett Favre, throwing into quintuple coverage and stuff like that, I would go Drew.
You're probably going to get more interceptions throughout the course of the year, maybe more bad plays, but you also have the potential to beat the LA Chargers 35-34, much better with Drew Lock than you do with Teddy Bridgewater, because 17-13 probably isn't going to happen.
It's just too hard to win that. You got to play the game and manage the game perfectly to win that way.
Right.
And I just seen very few teams really ever really win and be able to play that style.
Yeah.
Manage the game. We're going to play ugly. I mean, geez, to go to the Super Bowl, the only team I can even think of here in recent history is the Broncos of 2015.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
With Peyton Manning and that. That was like their offense stunk.
Yep.
They just like, hey, Peyton, just get us on the right play and run the ball and don't turn it over, and the defense will win the game. Mm-hmm. And I mean, even that, he threw 9 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. It wasn't even that good.
Right.
But so it's hard. It's hard that way. I am going to be really interested to see where he goes. We spelled it out, but I lean Drew Lock, as you know.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like the call. One last situation to get into, and this really isn't even a situation as much as it is just to take your temperature, how you think he's doing. Zach Wilson's the guy for the Jets, right?
Yes. Yes. They have nobody else.
It's 100%. So instead of have you seen enough to say he's the starter, have you seen enough to know his game can translate to the NFL?
Yes. I've seen enough. I've seen enough for all the haters of Zach Wilson, small school, all lack of competition, all those things. Like that's over, everybody. Sorry, just move on from your narrative. It's tired and lazy. The very least, I'm not saying he's going to be a superstar or anything like that. He belongs. That's for sure. I mean, for me, and again, I know I'm biased. I'm rooting for him. He's the number one guy, but I think I've proven that I can be pretty fair. He has been hands down the best rookie quarterback. Mm-hmm. To start with the first team each week, have to deal with the emotions of that. And then to me, again, same thing I said in week 1. He's made the most realistic NFL regular season throws and plays.
It doesn't matter if it's against backups. Those are still the throws that had to be made.
Exactly right.
Because people want to throw that out there.
Yes, and it's no game plan plays. That's the other thing I want to talk about too. Fields got a wide open touchdown in week 1. He got the Jesse James play we talked about where he dove and caught the ball. Those are game plan. Let's dial something up to make our guy look good.
Right.
Mac Jones and Zach Wilson, where they're different, it has been. Trey Lance had the post the first week from Shanahan dialed up for him to specifically do that. But Mac Jones and Zach Wilson have been going, this is what they've been forced to do. Here's our offense. Here's the plays we've run in practice. We're going to run them on the field. We're not going to call some magical week 5 game plan play and waste that to just make you look a little bit better. So they are working within the realm of the training camp offense and doing that. And I think this talent speaks for itself. I mean, I don't know how you can watch Zach Wilson and not go, man, the ball pops off his hands.
Right.
Man, it gets out of his hand quick. And then, he makes a play like last weekend where we hadn't seen off schedule yet, Zach Wilson.
Not as much.
And he's up there in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, a little play-action pass, and I went, oh, shit, look at number 2, looking like Aaron Rodgers. Let's show it. I think we got some pictures. Oh, yep, it'll be here in a second.
Okay.
But he has a little play-action pass. He's looking for a post down the middle. Both guys go with the post. Corey Davis is running a little wheel route on the right side. He gets flushed from the pocket, and it was like his pro day workout where you go, whoa, he took 3 steps to the right, started running, both feet were off the ground, and he threw a 30-yard laser down the sideline.
Right.
Perfect throw to Corey Davis. And that's where I just go, well, shit, that's the guy I thought he would be right there.
Well, no, I've liked the best about him is that we watched him so much in the spring. You kind of felt like you knew exactly how he was going to move, how the ball was going to come out, because we saw him so much.
Yeah.
You watch him now in these 2 games, and especially against Green Bay, he looks exactly the same. His movements are the same.
Right.
His pocket bounce and feel. I'm going to shuffle a little here. I'm going to slide a little there. Very nonchalant about it.
No doubt.
It's just like he was playing against Coastal Carolina.
I know.
And I know the Heat's going to get dialed up against him with the blitzes. It'll be harder, but he's moving and throwing the exact same way he did against UTEP or UT San Antonio as he did at Lambeau Field. And
no doubt.
I kind of applauded myself at home, like, That's really cool.
It is.
You're the exact same dude right now in the pocket that you were
no doubt
a year ago.
Hasn't changed. It's not too big for him. He's not panicking. He's not rushing the delivery, anything like that. He's a baller. The kid's a natural. I just know that from people I've talked to. I got to see Jets practice 2 weeks ago. I know I've been wrong, but this is one where yes, I did, and he's bigger than you think in person.
Good.
He's thick. He's bigger than Aaron Rodgers.
What would you say he is, 6'3", 220?
6'3", yeah, I would say about 220, and really well put together, like thick neck and shoulders, legs where you go, you look like a high-end NFL receiver or like a third-down running back with those legs. I got to see him do some sprints and stuff against the other quarterbacks, blowing them out of the water. He gets out. They think he runs 4.5.
Wow.
So, yeah, I was really impressed with the look test, not only on the field, but the person itself, because everybody was, telling me, well, he's a little small. He's a little small.
He does look a little slight on, or he did at BYU anyway.
Yeah, I get it. I think that uniform does that to you a little bit, but he's not small, and he's not, he's right up there with Patrick Mahomes in that size.
Legs and ass quarterback team.
He got some legs and ass for sure. And here, let's show those pictures, Pete, because here we go. We got a 1st and 10, and hopefully you guys are watching on YouTube, but he's got 2 receivers to the right, the tight end on the right, and the back offset to his right in the shotgun. They're running a little play-action pass. So go ahead, let it roll. He's going to ride it out. You see that there's a post going down the middle, right? Up top on the 3, kind of like a skinny post. But he's smart and recognizes, wait, the safety's there, and he sees that the corner has taken the bait and is following that receiver inside as well. So he's seeing that. Now go to the next frame. He's kind of like an okay spot in the pocket. 99 starts to come free, and he moves to his right, and you could see here, now he sees Corey Davis on the top left of the corner who's open, and look at his body. I mean, he's just loading up in a kind of a weird position on the run, but ultimately, look, that's perfect right there. He flicks it, gets his body right back to the perfect position. And, to me, this is the stuff you saw.
That's great, yeah.
He can make throws that are really high level, make him look like, looked very easy for him to do. And that, to me, was always the Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes part that I liked. So,
and now that we're in baseball season, I go back to what I said after watching him this spring. I'm like, he's like that shortstop who can field it in any position
and just flick sideways. Yeah. I mean, even in the game, like, just to add more Aaron Rodgers. And I know, I'm a Zach Wilson fan. I get it. But, like, even the touchdown he throws little to the tight end coming out of the backfield, I know that wasn't, like, anything like, whoa. But what he does is how quickly – okay, wait, don't show this yet. That's all right. We're going to get to this. I want to get to the other touch. But the bootleg, right? He threw that little one there.
Yeah.
Like, how quickly he just flipped his hips and threw a ball – that like the receiver could just run right through. He placed it and goes like, here, listen, if you just run to that spot, it's going to hit you right in the chest, and you won't have to break stride.
Without
you'll run
too
for
much
a touchdown.
Pace on it, like we talked about earlier with another quarterback.
Little perfect spirals, placed it perfectly.
Yeah.
Now we're going to show the first touchdown. Okay. Because the first touchdown was interesting to me.
This is the one of the tight end.
The one of the tight end down the middle, Croft down the middle.
Yeah.
And this is where I love this play. They're trying with Croft to run, the old stick nod, 5 yards out, run up the field. Right. The old Jay Novacek play. Right. Here's Dallas Clark with Peyton Manning used to do it all the time. So they're trying to do that. You want to run that play against 2 deep safeties because he's going to fake out. You're hoping the guy underneath will cover him, and now he's going to split the 2 safeties down the middle. That's ultimately what this play is for. Well, they get a single safety look. It's not really supposed to go to the tight end here.
Right.
But so Wilson, he's got 2 receivers to his right. Go ahead and let it play. So and he's looking to his right, as you could see here. And you could see 38, the safety in the middle of the field. This is not something you want to throw the ball a look right now to the tight end down the middle of the field with the safety right there.
Right.
But he's looking to the right because he's been coached to look that way against this coverage. I do think there was either a bust of a route or whatever. Either way, Green Bay had it covered over there. So he has got nothing. Now, he's like, because you can see there's the inside slot receiver. He's got 2 guys on him. The guy outside of him was running a go route. So now he's got to play football. Now it's like, this is why we draft. We know you could do exactly what we tell you to do, but shit doesn't always go exactly the way we tell you it's going to happen, okay? Now you got to make a play and can earn your money.
Yeah.
And so he sits in the pocket, doesn't panic, right? And yes, by the rule of thumb in the quarterback world, you shouldn't throw this ball down the middle against this coverage. But this is where I think he's kind of special. He's got a great feel. The game doesn't move too fast, and I think he just looked at it and went, wait, that guy's open, and that safety's way deep now. I can kind of get it in there.
Yeah.
And he just played football to where I bet you like Mike LaFleur might have been like, oh, don't throw it down the middle. Yes, good throw. Way to go, Zach Wilson. Oh, that was awesome. So let's see the next clip. So now, and again, the appropriate ball, which you brought up a second ago, to just get the ball up over the top of 44. And then if you keep let it going, he protects Croft, too, by kind of stopping him and slowing him down to now where he can catch the ball. And, okay, the safety's going to hit you in the back. But I didn't lead you down the middle to where he was going to knock your head off, right? So that's where I look at that to be next level. And that's the one thing I've seen from Zach Wilson and Mac Jones. Not only great accuracy, but even accuracy to the point of protecting the receiver in traffic and things like that. But, yes, again, I know people are going to think I'm biased, but I think it's pretty unanimous from everybody I've talked to. I mean, Zach Wilson's looked the best out of all the rookie quarterbacks so far.
Yeah, I think your enthusiasm is backed up by how well he's played.
Yeah,
and you had him ranked number 1, so of course it's nice to see. But I'll point out too, I mean, you didn't have Justin Fields ranked as high as a lot of people. You pointed out a lot of positives you've seen there.
Yes, I'm not going to be a hater
similar with
here.
Trey Lance, exactly. So
I'm not going to be a hater.
As you say, people are going to say, "Oh, he's your number 1 guy." You've been pretty fair to all these guys.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
From where I'm sitting,
and if you made me rank them all right now, I mean, first off, like Fields has been better than Lance.
Show,
yeah,
Pete.
Fields has been better than Lance through 2 weeks for sure. I have no problem saying that. So, it's hard to rank them flat out. I think if you just went,
unless you were asked to on Wednesday.
Well, I'm screw that. We're gonna. We don't need it. We got it right now. But, I mean, just as of right now, I think Wilson 1.
Yeah.
I would go Mac Jones 2.
Who were you struggling with there?
Him and Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Mac Jones 2, Fields 3, probably Lawrence 4, Lance 5 right now, if you made me rank the 5 first-round quarterbacks. And not to say Lawrence was bad either.
Yeah.
Lawrence did
That's
good
the one
things.
people would bring up.
And we'll see more of Lawrence tonight. Lawrence got a
good
little
one tonight.
bad pocket presence and greedy in the first game. Those are easy fixes. It wasn't things where I went, oh, no, I'm a little worried with what I'm seeing. Physically, he looked the part, and he's a good athlete. The arm looked good, everything like that. But, he's used to Clemson. He's adjusting the NFL offenses, things like that. I think we'll see a better Trevor Lawrence tonight against the Saints.
And we get to see Taysom and Jameis as well.
Oh, man. Yeah. I know, another one. And we'll hit that on Wednesday. I mean, we'll see where that goes. We will. I do, again, there's one I favor, Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
I do. He looked really good. I think he's Sean Payton's pet project. He wants it to work. I think Sean Payton's excited about the element of offense that Taysom Hill can bring, and it kind of reinvigorates his crazy mad scientist mind to where, I could do this with Taysom Hill and this and this and this and this. And then here's the other thing I just come to, too. No Michael Thomas, and you might need the Taysom Hill experience and all the things he can bring to the table at the quarterback just for a few schematical advantages without, your best player or second best player on offense in Michael Thomas.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's the final game of week 2 of the preseason.
It is. That's the final game.
Move on to week 3.
That's right.
And we look forward to Wednesday.
Definly.
Come
Wednesday,
back and do it in a
we
couple
got plenty
days.
of stuff we're going to talk about. We're still, we got a lot of rookies to hit on. I got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of guys to hit on, and Pete and I basically the whole weekend he just gets flooded by texts with me. So he's got 9 zillion Chris Simms thoughts in his phone that we'll certainly break down Wednesday. And I think Big Phil will be back Wednesday.
Oh,
He'll
nice.
be back
I was wondering about Phil.
Yeah, I think we'll see him this week.
Big Phil, have a good summer.
He's doing good.
Yeah.
Still looks like Dracula. I don't think he's seen the sun more than 2 or 3 times.
That's good for him, though.
Yeah, it's good for him.
It's healthy for him.
Yeah, he's doing good. He's getting ready for his whole season here. He's finally got to work again. So, get back on the bandwagon here.
Well, I've been pointing to this day for a lot of the summer. Other things going on, but always excited to get the football rolling. So Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, too.
Good to be back in the seat.
Yeah, we got so much to hit on. I mean, we didn't even get to talk about Trubisky. We didn't get to talk about Big Ben. I didn't get to talk about the Colts quarterbacks.
Mahomes.
I got things I got to say about Mahomes.
Yeah.
I want things I got to say about the Miami Dolphins. Don't worry. We will be not void of topics on Wednesday.
We want to leave you wanting more.
Wanting more.
Yeah.
They call it a tease.
There it is.
There you go.
A 2-day tease.
All right, you the man.
All right, good
Way
to see
be
you.
back. You the man, Paulie B.
See you in a couple days.
All right, everybody. We'll see you Wednesday. Be good. Take care of yourself. Enjoy Monday Night Football. Peace.
Yo, what's up? Come on, man. Subscribe on YouTube to Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast. I need you. Please hit the subscribe button, please.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.